Chairman, may I
have
give my
another
answer
question.
on that?
Here's
It's a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer
Yeah,
on that.
we'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question.
You can
Within
give me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
Red-handed, there was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
Okay.
and we invited
what?
you
Show
in.
the video.
This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed
He won.
politician.
Gentleman.
Again, I just don't know who that serves, Scott. I mean, literally on that document, the name that is blacked out says co-conspirator. That should be an obvious non-redaction. And to not even acknowledge, I think that's a pretty big mistake. To not even acknowledge that, I think, and then make it about Thomas Massie and his relationship with Trump or whatever, seems to obscure the bigger issue, which is that there are potential perpetrators, alleged perpetrators, who are still being protected.
And that's the thing, you know, just before we get into trashy Jennings' whole position and where he's going with this, you know, how do you defend this, Scott? Because this is reprehensible. I don't know how he's going to do it. Like, there's no way you can defend this. Like, literally, Pam Bondi made a complete fool of herself in that whole session. She's a joke, guys. I mean, literally, she's a joke. But if you're new to my channel, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, you know, for more content like this, because these people are a joke and we're here to expose them.
Well, look, I don't know how the redactions are made or not made. And look, obviously it was brought up and then they unredacted it, and it's 3.5 million documents. And I have always wondered how in the world you ever get it perfect. And I've also wondered, you know, the danger of accidentally or whatever, putting people's names out there who were victims, who shouldn't have their names out there. Anytime you're dumping this many documents, it's been worrisome. All of that having been said, this hearing today to me, look, I get the desire to fight because, look, and I agree with Anna, actually. These hearings are basically people show up, they make speeches, then they give the witness 10 seconds to respond, and then they yell at the witness. It's been going on for a long time. It makes these hearings useless. That having been said, at the DOJ, I think if I were advising them, I would advise them to do it more like Scott Bessent handles his hearings. It's not a lot of performative. It's not a lot of theatrics. He remains cool. He is in command of the facts, and that's how he chooses to do it. They come after him the same way, but he has a different style of how he carries himself and how he presents himself. I think that, truthfully, better serves the administration because it shows more confidence in what you're doing as opposed to just the fighting and the back and forth.
She must be doing it because she thinks somebody
Right.
likes it.
Exactly. I mean, Bessent has the benefit of the kind of a financial view, which can be argued in multiple ways, and you can have facts. The facts are just not on their side in these particular hearings. You know, we just saw Patel, now we've seen Bondi. The New York Times called this a stall and brawl strategy. I think that is a perfect description of what it is, because we see people constantly contorting themselves to try to defend the indefensible. They deflect instead of answering questions directly. They try to substitute passion for truth. They try to talk fast rather than straight talk. And that is all for one person only, because it is a person who likes it, and that is Donald Trump. And so all of this genuflecting, I feel like every one of these people should have bloody knees because they are genuflecting to this man all the time.
Literally, and that's the thing. And shout out to Charles Blow here, because Scott is rejecting the fact that literally, you know, they always will pander to Trump. What is with this? You know, they're always pandering to his needs and anything he wants, when we should be not deflecting, when rather we should be bringing to the reality that Trump is on the files and this whole thing is a one big joke. But I digress. Let me know what you guys think so far.
But you know, if nothing else, she should have turned around to those survivors and said, my DOJ, we should have contacted you. I'm sorry we didn't. My DOJ will be on it, and we will be contacting you and getting your stories. That's just unacceptable.
Let me show you this image. This is Pam Bondi's notes. It was captured by a photographer, and it shows that they had taken, over at the DOJ, notes of what members, in this case, it was Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, what they searched when they went into the DOJ to look at the Epstein files. And I don't know, what does that tell you, Chris, about what the priorities were going into this hearing on the Bondi side of things?
I just totally agree with Anna. I think that we've absolutely lost what this is about. This should not be political. This really shouldn't. These women were victims of sexual assault, and we are continually just brushing over that for theater.
Exactly. And Chris Medell made a great point, right here as well. Like, this is not about politics. We need to stop taking it there. I don't know why the right is making it about politics and, oh, well, the left. No. This is further than politics. You guys are rejecting that because your guy is in the files and you just can't accept it, which is crazy to me. But let's keep watching.
And a number of their names were released here. They were victimized again. And I've seen this in my job a number of times. And we keep forgetting this over and over again. But then when the Attorney General gets up there and just wants to combat and just wants to yell, it seemed a lot more to me like an interview for the White House than it did, rather than trying to actually address the underlying problem. I mean, when you have a Republican like Massey saying, hey, listen, why aren't you going after these people? Why are you redacting names that say conspirator? And then you have Democrats on the other hand saying this. You have lots of Democrats in these files. You have lots of Republicans in these files. But we're forgetting all these women that are sitting right behind you.
And that's the thing. This is not to say that there aren't Democrats in the files. It's just to say that, when the right comes out their way and says, oh, well, see, it's the left. They withheld the files. But then when you guys show the files and you find your people in it, you guys, again, goes back to what the other gentleman said. They just deflect. They don't want to acknowledge it. This is deeper than politics, again, But for some reason, they just refuse to accept that, They always bring it back to politics. No, this is, again, deeper than that. So, yeah.
And I totally agree with Anna. I don't understand why you can't start a hearing and just simply say, I'm sorry. I am sorry about not only what you have gone through, but I'm also sorry that my department released your names publicly.
Well,
that is not a big ask.
Well, Pam Bondi has clearly shown us that she has no soul and does not literally care about people's experiences. And that's why we couldn't get it. And I wouldn't have expected it from her.
It was also absolutely ridiculous. First, she was being very inconsistent with what Todd Blanche has said about some of these in some of these answers. But it was ridiculous for her to say that she had nothing to do and no knowledge about the transfer of Ghislaine Maxwell, who is a monster and should be in the worst possible prison, not a prison camp.
And there you have it. What more can we say other than Pam Bondi is a joke? Scam Bondi, she just literally she sat up there and literally defended these people, acted like it wasn't even happening. Like, they're just happy as it can be. Like, no, there's nothing wrong. And you guys just have Trump derangement syndrome. It's crazy to me that these people are still in power. And I don't know what else to say about them other than they're just a joke. It's one big joke of an administration. And they refuse to accept that it's deeper in politics now, But again, like I said earlier, let me know what you all think down below in the comments. I will see you on the next one. Again, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.